Lemurs may personify objects like humans do, but lemurs may rely more on scent. Humans personify things based on visual features, like if an object looks like a face. Lemurs may personify things based on scent. If someone smells happy and wears a top, the scent of happiness is then on the top. If they then take the top off, the top may still smell of happiness. A lemur may smell happiness on the top and then attribute the human emotion of happiness to the top. Because humans rely more on vision, humans may find visual things cute, like a round head or big eyes. Because lemurs rely on scent more, they may find things that smell like baby lemurs cute. If a baby was wearing the top and then took off the top may still smell like baby lemurs, and the lemur may attribute the lemur characteristic of being cute to the top. The lemur then personifies the top by finding the top cute like a baby lemur. The lemur doesn't wear the top, but instead cuddles their little top like the top is their baby. The lemur feels loving and affection to their cute smelling top. The top smells happy and is like a ray of sunshine to the lemur, brightening up their day. The lemur has trouble socializing and is at the bottom of the dominance hierarchy. They long for a connection, and they have found it in their top. They want to care for their top and don't want anything bad to happen to it, personifying things as a trait of autism. Autism can be studied in primates, and both humans with autism and primates with social difficulties all have lower levels of a chemical called vasopressin in their spinal fluid. There are experiments where monkeys are given stereotypically male toys and stereotypically female toys to see if the male monkeys will play with the male toys and the female monkeys will play with the female toys. Female lemurs are exposed to male hormones when they are developing in the womb, and female lemurs have more testosterone and are more dominant over males. Because female lemurs are more masculinized, female lemurs may play with stereotypically male toys, like cars. The female lemur loves their little toy car and personifies it like their shirt. The toy car and the shirt are like the lemur's friends, and they feel cozy with all their object friends together like a little tea party or teddy bear's picnic. The lemur was given all the clothes that are conscious that have appeared in my other videos. The folded blue shirt that is very intelligent because it has lots of folds like the brain. Bert the t-shirt that drank methylated spirits and turned purple. My mom's fluffy magenta dressing gown, the bright orange shirt that gave me bright orange belly button fluff, and the fluff became my baby. And my therapist's bright yellow trousers that triggered my OCD. The lemur plays in a pile of all these clothes and likes the different textures of them all. Humans can recognize themselves in the mirror because they rely on vision. Other animals that use smell a lot may recognize themselves by using smell, and their sense of self may be based on smell. When humans personify objects, they can project themselves onto the object. In real life, lemurs can rub toxic millipedes on themselves as a parasite repellent. The millipede then smells of the lemur, and so because the millipede smells of the millipede reminds the lemur of themselves, and the lemur projects their own thoughts and feelings and sense of self onto the millipede. This thing smells like me, so it must be a bit like me. The lemur therefore personifies the millipede and feels they can connect with the millipede and relate to them. The millipede's scent also gets onto the lemur, and the millipede becomes part of the lemur's identity. The lemur feels that the millipede and themselves have a mutual understanding of each other because they have exchanged scents and smell like each other and have therefore exchanged identities, because a lemur's sense of identity is based on smell, not vision alone. The lemur thought, I'll be gentle with my little millipede friend. Humans are very good at recognizing and identifying people based on their face. Humans are so good at recognizing faces that sometimes inanimate objects look like they have faces, even though inanimate objects don't actually have faces. This can lead humans to personifying inanimate objects because the object looks like they have faces. Some apes and monkeys recognize other apes and monkeys based on their backside, and their backside can convey a lot of information. Apes and monkeys may have evolved to recognize backsides to the point where they see backsides in inanimate objects, even though inanimate objects don't have backsides. When apes and monkeys see inanimate objects like rocks that are shaped like backsides, it is like when humans see objects with faces on, and the primates personify the rock backsides and attribute monkey or ape-like qualities to them. Backsides convey a large amount of information to other primates, and the apes and monkeys may attribute different personalities to the inanimate objects based on what sort of backside they look like. My pet rock has a wide face, but what if the rock ended up with an orangutan? Dominant orangutans have wide faces with cheek pads, making their faces look wider. If an orangutan saw a rock that had a face on it that was very wide, that looked like it had cheek pads, the orangutan may attribute the trait of being dominant onto the rock and see the rock as an object that is high status and something to be respected or admired. The orangutan may look up to the rock and one day want to be like the rock, or the orangutan may feel comforted and more secure and safe with the alpha male rock watching over them and protecting them. In humans, there can be two parents and therefore two roles of parental investment. For example, women may produce a baby inside them. In animals, one gender may play a different role in parental care. For example, female orangutans may give more parental care because orangutans are quite solitary, and male seahorses may carry their young before giving birth. These two different levels of parental investment can lead to two genders being common. Why is this rock gender fluid? A grain of sand could break off this sandstone, and eventually the grain of sand could become part of a new rock, a child, if you will. The rock only had to give up one grain of sand, and so this was low parental investment. On the other hand, a big fragment of rock could break off this rock, and the fragment could be the child. In this case, the rock had to invest more of itself in their offspring. They had to lose a larger piece of themselves. Different levels of parental investment can cause different genders. The rock can invest different levels of itself into the offspring, just a grain or a bigger fragment. Therefore, the rock can experience aspects of more than one gender, and that's why the rock is gender fluid. The rock's wide cheeks make the rock look like a testosterone-fueled alpha male to the young orangutan. The rock doesn't like this though because the rock is gender fluid and the orangutan is misgendering them. Every time the orangutan treats the rock like an alpha male, the rock's gender dysphoria is triggered. The stone feels depressed, shame, and disgusted at itself for looking like a man. The rock's self-esteem plummeted, and the rock feels worthless. The rock hates itself and doesn't want to live with the orangutan anymore. They're desperate for me to come and rescue them, and all the other objects donated to the Primate Research Center. The rock and all the clothes were in separate enclosures. The objects all wanted to get back together in the comfort of my own house. This experiment has gone on for far too long, they thought. The objects were sick and bored of the experiment.
I broke into the zoo, ready to wrestle all the monkeys, apes, and lemurs, even the silverback gorillas.
But then I saw the primates treasuring the objects. I thought, wait a minute, look how happy the lemurs and orangutans are playing with the rock and clothes. The rock isn't really gender fluid or an alpha male. It's just how me or the orangutan choose to personify the rock. It's a matter of other primates' perspectives. I couldn't see past my own perspective, and I was projecting my own feeling about not wanting to look too manly. I don't want big muscles or a beard, and I don't want to go bald either. But one day the orangutan may want to be an alpha male. The orangutan is just projecting their own dreams and aspirations onto the rock. Just because I don't want to be an alpha male doesn't mean other people or primates don't want to be one either. The primate can keep the rock enclosed. It's their choice what they want to project onto the objects. Part 2. The rock has a wide head like some geckos. How would geckos perceive the rock? Male geckos can have broader, larger heads, and so geckos may see the comparatively huge and wide rock as a male. Other male lizards may be colourful, whereas some female lizards can have drab colouring. The rock is grey, and so some lizards may think of the rock as female. Although male lizards can have larger heads, females can be larger in general because they have to carry eggs. The rock is large and females are large, and so the rock may be personified as a female by some lizards. Of course, lizards are very different to humans, but some lizards can mistake items like a sock for a mate. If a male or female lizard has been basking on the rock will smell of either a male or female, and so the rock may be perceived as male or female. Bigger heads can be associated with dominant males, and so the lizard might conduct a dominance display if the rock smells of another male. I personify the rock as gender fluid, and so in my mind it brings me peace and relief that the rock will be perceived as both male or female, depending on the animal. Here's a pet scaleless snake. Worms are the same shape as snakes, and so snakes may personify worms, or at the very least momentarily mistake a worm for another snake. Earthworms are small like a baby snake, but whether a snake would feel caring feelings or affection towards a worm would depend on snake's parental care. Some snakes care for their eggs, but not hatchlings, and so snakes may have caring instincts to egg-shaped things, but not things that look like already hatched snakes. Snakes may feel caring towards white, egg-shaped pebbles, but not necessarily earthworms. Humans find things that look like baby humans cute. Golden plover chicks look like moss, so they blend in with their environment. Golden plovers may find things that look like their chicks cute, and because their chicks look like moss, the parents may find moss cute. The birds may feel caring and nurturing towards moss and want to show moss their love and affection. That's how I myself feel about cute fluffy moss. I like that I can relate and connect with animals. I'm personifying animals, and the animals are then personifying rocks and moss, things I love, and also personify myself. It's like meta personification. Frogs can look after tadpoles and carry them on their back. Frogs may therefore feel caring towards tadpoles or find tadpole-shaped things cute. Sea squirts are vertebrates' closest living relatives, and baby sea squirts look like tadpoles. Some animals, like dogs, will adopt other species of animals' babies. Would frogs feel some sort of parental instinct to sea squirt babies that look like tadpoles? Would they even adopt sea squirts and carry them on their back as shown? Well, tadpoles generally live in fresh water, whereas sea squirts live in salt water. So frogs probably wouldn't come in contact with sea squirts, and I'm not sure if sea squirt babies are a similar size to tadpoles. In the future, a sea squirt would have to evolve to live in fresh water, and maybe then a frog could carry it on its back to help it disperse and find new bodies of water to live in. This is a rock called Dalmatian jasper. Its pattern is like a Dalmatian dog, so would a dog look after the rock like it's one of its own puppies? Dalmatian dogs have not evolved to be white with black spots, so they wouldn't inherently find the pattern cute, because the pattern hasn't been evolutionarily ingrained into them. If a Dalmatian dog had white puppies with black spots, the parent may associate the spotted rock with their own puppies. The parent may be filled with maternal hormones because they have their own puppies, and this may cause the dog to look after the rock like it's one of its own litter. And the rock is small and round, and the dog would find that cute. So far, all the animals I've talked about are real, but how might our current animals evolve in the future? Plethodontid salamanders are lungless in real life and breathe through their skin. In the future, plethodontid salamanders could grow to the size of a cat and become very intelligent. Becoming larger and having a big brain means the salamanders need more energy, and they need more oxygen to get that energy. The future salamanders could increase their surface area so they absorb more oxygen, and they could do that by evolving wrinkles and folds and a sail on their back. They could also evolve pink hair, like protuberances on their head, and this is because hairs have a high surface area, and if the hair-like protuberances were filled with blood, this would allow the salamanders to absorb more oxygen. Because these future salamanders are so wrinkly, they may find other wrinkly things cute. Some elderly humans can require as much care as children, but because elderly people aren't as cute as children, people don't want to give them as much care. That's where the salamanders step in. Their babies have lots of wrinkles to breathe through their skin, and so they would find old humans' wrinkles cute because they look like their babies. The salamander babies have skin folds much finer and smaller than the adult salamanders, and these small folds look like elderly people's fine wrinkles. The salamanders may feel caring and nurturing to elderly humans and become nurses and carers to look after them. It gives the salamanders purpose. They're helping humans. The salamanders feel whatever the equivalent of proud and fulfilled are.